The rules of a Shakespearean sonnet are as follows. First, the poem must be 14 lines in length. Second, the poem follows a specific rhyme scheme. I'll tell you what that is in a second. Lastly, the poem must follow iambic pentameter. While this should already be in your notes, I'll touch upon it briefly in this video. Rule 1. A Shakespearean sonnet must be 14 lines in length. Here I've posted a famous Shakespearean sonnet, Sonnet 18, for you to read. Notice that I've labeled the lines for you. The length of the poem is always 14 lines long. No more, no less. Rule 2. The poem must follow a specific rhyme scheme. Notice I've now labeled every line of the sonnet with a letter. What you need to know is that the letter marks which lines rhyme with which lines. Follow along as I read the poem aloud and see if you can pick up on the rhyme scheme. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime, too, hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course, untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Look carefully at lines 1 and 3. They are both marked A. This means that the last word in lines 1 and 3 must rhyme. Lines 2 and 4 are marked B. The last word in those lines must rhyme, and so on and so forth. Rule 3 is that the sonnet must follow iambic pentameter. Remember, an iamb is a pair of beats called feet. Penta means 5. Meter is a line of poetry. Thus, iambic pentameter means that there are 5 iambs, or pairs of beats, in every line. This works out to a total of 10 syllables for every line. I've marked the beats or syllables in this line of poetry. Follow along as I read it aloud. I'll enunciate the syllables for you. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? You'll notice perfectly 10 syllables. Here's line 2. Same thing. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. This is the most difficult part of writing a Shakespearean sonnet, counting the syllables. Remember, count carefully. A line must have 10 syllables, not 9, not 11, 10. Here are a few tips and tricks to help you. First, if you need to, use an online rhyming dictionary, especially if you get stuck. Second, if you're struggling to meet your syllable count, do what Shakespeare did and get rid of a letter here and there. For instance, take the word temperate, which has 3 syllables. Get rid of the E in the middle of the word and you now have temperate, which means the same thing, but is now down to just 2 syllables. The last point you need to know is that a true Shakespearean sonnet is about love, affection, or some sort of close relationship. I'm not requiring you to use these 3 themes, or any of them, as your subject matter. However, if you choose to do so and you hand in a sonnet that is about love, or friendship, or affection, or a close relationship, I will give you extra credit. Now, step back and think about how difficult this is to follow this writing style. Even though you are only writing 14 lines, it's a fair challenge. Now consider that Shakespeare wrote entire plays using this formula, and it falls into perspective how talented of a writer he was, and is just one of many reasons we continue to read his plays today.